that's why Christ is Melchizedek and Christ is Solomon.
Where did you get that breakdown?
The Lord.
Like it, sir. Gentleman behind me see your class. He said, well done.
Like it.
Fried chicken, napkins.
Put that on the table for me, warrior.
All right.
Rank raise coming, warrior.
I'm trying to holler at you about that class.
All right, for sure.
Excellent class, by the way.
I appreciate that, boy. Yeah.
After you.
There he is, man of the hour. Take a seat, man. Take a seat. What's going on with you, brother?
Yeah.
What's up, live? Listen, man. Heard you taught a hell of a class.
Hey, man, the water, sir. The water.
Excellent job, by the way. Hey, look, man. You know, I was thinking. Tell me what you think. Thursday, 7 p.m. Prime time. Scripture breakdown. What you think about that?
I consider it.
That's all I need you to do, man. Laya Shala.
Like Shala.
Come on, man. Hey, wake that brother up. Wake him up. Wake him up. Wake that brother up. Wake up, bye.
Yeah.
Hey, wake that brother up. Wake up, bye.
Yeah.
Hey, wake up. Wake up, bye. Most High in Christ. You back with us?
Come on, sir.
Most High in Christ. Like. And that's why Christ was Solomon, Christ was Melchizedek, and reincarnation is in the Bible. Hey, do me a favor. See me one more time, Baba Bashar. I appreciate it, Doc. I appreciate it. Warrior. Get it from the back.
What you gonna do afterwards? It's on Christ, Cap. What's that?
Christ, what's going on with you?
Oh, sir, chilling, sir.
Yeah.
What you watching over here?
Shit, man. Like the game, man. You feel me?
Oh, yeah, them Lakers are good.
Yeah, I got a little money on it, man.
How much you got on?
Like a couple units.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. But yeah, man, I'm gonna be real with you though, Cap, man.
We're good.
Look, man, I ain't gonna cap, bro. Cap, I ain't going back in the world, Cap, man. I'm available all the time. I do Sabbath service every week. Anytime you say something in the chat, I'm on it. Man, I'm about to get in the medical department. I'm doing a lot, man. Always available. I'm just trying to say, man, can I get some rank around here or something?
So you asked for rank, huh? You hot right now. You feel me? You hot right now. I understand that. And I see you. You know what I'm saying? You're doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? I gotta think about it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta think about it. You feel me?
I hear you, Cap. But, I mean, you acting like you like scared or something. Give me something.
Hold on. What you say? Scared? Listen, man. I fear God. That's it. Nothing else. All right, you hear me? I went to camp 46 straight weeks. Ain't no one harder than me on the West. You understand that, right?
Come.
Don't ever bring scared business into this school.
It's like, sir, I ain't mean to overstep nothing like that, man. I'm just saying I want it, man. I've been out here working. I've been grinding. I'm in it, man. I'm precepting every day, learning something every day. I need it, man. I need it.
Listen, man. I hear you. Let me see what I can do, all right? Let me see what I can do.
Come.
Good? Nah, most on that Christ.
There you go, right there. Thank think that's the brother trying to get ranked up?
I had to drop the dime on that nigga. I don't like that shit. Get my phone. General Muhammad?
You know what I'm
Can you hear? Test 1, 2.
God, you hear me?
Oh yeah, we good. I just had Tupac pop up on there. I was all like, oh, okay, let me get this timing right. All right, most definitely. First and foremost, get a most high hand. And back again, another Tuesday night Brotherhood class. SoCal and Las Vegas collide once again. You know what I mean? Got Priest and Officer Iraq. Is that brother hand?
Most high crack, man.
I'm Priest and Officer Natazak. You know what I mean? We're gonna get this going. All right, so
Make sure you give yourself a hand too as well. All right, come on now.
hey, I don't deserve it, but nah, but all right. So great topic today. You know what I mean? Great, excellent topic we got going on today. We about to get into some history. You know what I'm saying? Always good to dig into history. You know what I mean? A lot of people tend to forget that, you know what I mean, the Bible is actually historical records. You know what I mean? It's documented in history. You know what I mean? And the events that happen in the times of the history lessons we heard while we were in school, we tend to forget that in that time period, the Bible goes over those time periods as well. You know what I mean? And goes over what was happening as far as us and what we were going through in those times. You know what I mean? So the eras we're going to get through today are going to be the eras of the Greeks and Rome, right? Before we even get started on that, I want to read Romans 15 and 15 and 4.
I got that when you're ready for it.
You got it? All right. Yeah, most definitely.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So the things that were written, so like it, the things that was written aforetime were written for our learning. So the things that were documented, those are written for us to have knowledge and to be able to, you know what I mean, put 2 and 2 together. You know what I mean? Put those things together and have a visual of not only what was going on in that time period, but also what to learn from them. You know what I mean? What the do's and do nots. Okay. You go ahead and finish that, all right?
God, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Okay. So these things that are written for aforetime are to give us hope. Okay. So what we want to get into the records of things that happened in a time period where we were still under captivity, just as well as we're under captivity as we speak right now. Now, this is a little bit, how can I say? This is a different type of captivity that we're sitting in right now. Our chains are more so on our spirits, more so than it is on our necks. You know what I mean? It's not so much the physical, but more so of the lifestyle that we live is what keeps us in captivity. You know what I mean? Our people are not allowed to thrive as a people. We're not allowed to come together as a people. We're not allowed to unify. We're not allowed to rattle the chains of our oppressors' ankles. You know what I'm saying? We're not allowed to do any of those things. We are just here to just live under the foot of our oppressors, to live under their ways, to follow their rules and ask no questions and tell no tales. You know what I'm saying? That's just pretty much what the type of captivity that we live in today. A lot of people are so far gone and so impoverished that a lot of our people don't even feel like that we are in captivity at this moment. We feel as if we're supposed to live like this. We feel like we're supposed to live under the oppressor who has rulership over us today. We feel like this is just a common way. This is just how it's supposed to be. We actually feel like we're doing better than what we could be doing. You know what I mean? Seeing as that all we were taught was slavery. And that's it. You know what I mean? That's all we our history, that's as far as our history goes. Hey, Shalom Lord Christ, what's going on, Kodash? You know what I'm saying? But that's just what our people are in captivity spiritually, more so than physically. Like, you know what I mean? We could try to thrive as a unit. We could try to build ourselves up as a unit, and our oppressors would knock us right back down, right in front of our faces, and we won't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? We'll just sit back and just take the lashings and just be cool with it. So this is a thing we have to learn. You know what I'm saying? At this time period that we're about to get into, it was a little bit more obvious that we were under the foot of our oppressor, but that's because we knew who we were at that time period. We knew that we were the children of Israel. We knew that we were coming from royalty. We knew that we had a God of power. We knew that we were disobeying the laws, and that under our disobedience, we had to be under the foot of our oppressor. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we still have our identity. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we don't have an identity. Like, we go as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Bywords. We just go as bywords. We don't go by our actual culture. We don't actually have an identity. So not only was our identity stripped away, we were stripped away from our families. We were abused. We were what is it? How can you say it? SA? You know what I'm saying? If you know, like, internet lingo, you know what I mean? We were treated in some of the harshest ways, and you know what I mean, it's no different from that time period that we were in Egypt, that we were in Babylon, that we were in Greece, that we were in Rome. You know what I mean? We're still being
to that point.
Right.
If I made it add to that point,
Oh, yeah,
man, what's heavy about what you bringing out, man, is like the differences in our captivities. You know, the time periods where when we were going through that physical captivity, you know, these things, the ideologies, you know, the, like you said, the SA stuff like that, they were forced upon us with like a literal whip, or, you know, they literally were forced onto us, or it was the whip at the best case scenario, or it was death. You get what I'm saying? And that physical captivity was such a burden that you can look at ourselves, the condition of the Negro, Latino, and Native American today in 2024, and now we basically choose, you know, we choose that lifestyle, we choose that ideology, we choose, you understand, the you know, we basically choose to put ourselves into that condition of which, you know, like for example, because what I'm trying to actually say is, because this is part of like what the topic that we're talking about tonight is, and I'm going to go into it a little bit when I do my portion, is like the repercussions, the consequences of sexually assaulting someone. A lot of times, you know, they end up going into the alternative lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? And, you know, because of it being forced on us, because of it was forced on our forefathers, their children are naturally not naturally, but they're choosing that lifestyle now. You understand? And like my point is, you know, now we are in a condition where we just willingly choose, you know what, I'm going to do the things that I already know that Master wanted me to do in the first place, without him having to beat my mom and dad, without him even having to beat me, without him having to cut my fingers off, without me having to watch my child ripped away. In fact, the child that I do have, I'm also going to teach them that this is okay. You know what I'm saying? And like the first thing that comes to mind when I talk about that is, I don't know if you had seen that video of that sister where she's sitting there, you know, she's dancing, like the baby looks like maybe a month or two old. and she's sitting there saying, "Oh, gay baby, I'm
Right,
gonna
right,
be
yeah.
gay." You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Huh.
That right there is literal PTSD. That was literally pounded into pounded into our DNA. Because I mean, hell, PTSD is something that is generational. So it can be passed on through the future generations because we've never had a time to heal. You get what I'm saying? So now it's sitting in our DNA, just waiting to act a goddamn fool. And that comes from that physical oppression. You know what I'm saying? That those things that our forefathers endured yesterday, we're paying for those consequences today. Even though that a lot of times our forefathers, man, they, you know, don't let the history books fool y'all and think that, you know, we just took them lashings or we just, you know, allowed the butt breaking to happen. And you know, and the list goes on with the atrocities that has happened to the Black, Latino, and Native American men and women throughout history. But, you know, we fought back, but still there was a very devious process of which, you know, our oppressors went through to make sure that, you know, this is now a generational issue, which, if I may just, you know, say this as well, for those of y'all, Salaki, for those of y'all that come into the ISUPK, that watch these classes, that goddamn actually change their life because of your choice, like, that's how you got to think about how special that is. And you got to think about, like, that's why we say, you know, we see miracles happen in the ISUPK, because it's a miracle that you can actually fight against, you know, PTSD. You understand? Those generational, what's the word I want to use?
Curses?
Yeah, we'll use generational curses. I know, so y'all understand what I'm saying. The fact that you can choose to fight against it and heal yourself, and then even think to go and help the next brother and sister that you see that's going through what you went through, that is a miracle in itself. Salaki.
No, that's real heavy, because a major portion of what we're gonna get in today is how our oppressor is so infatuated with the LGBTQ society. You know what I mean? Right. And how they push that, like how you were saying, like they don't even have to beat us into submission anymore. We are openly handing our children over. We're openly handing ourselves over. We're openly handing our rights to procreate, all that. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have to beat us anymore. We're fully in submission at this point right now. You know what I mean? Just like in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what I mean? Like, we're so infatuated with our lust and with our how can I say, our confusion. We're making a lifestyle out of anything that is promoted. You know what I mean? And the things that you see promoted are alternative lifestyle, sexual lifestyles, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? And that's what we promote. So, like, Rock, you left us. When you log back in, I'm gonna add you back on. But getting back into that, like, you know what I mean? That's just something that our oppressors are pushing out to an extreme measure right now. And it's a reason for that, because they don't want you to procreate. They don't want you, if you read the time period of what happened in Egypt, you know what I mean? Pharaoh literally felt like he had to Pharaoh literally felt like he had to kill our babies, our firstborn sons, because we were growing in numbers too rapidly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm gonna put you on. You got a background noise, Iraq. But yeah, so we were having so many children, we were growing in numbers so vastly that the Pharaoh of Egypt wanted to kill our firstborn babies. You know what I mean?
So, like, is it fixed now? Because the funny thing, you said that while I was muted.
It's like, it's not that bad right now. Nah, you twop right now. You twop. It was like a wavy type of sound, but you twop.
I don't know. My computer crashed. I might have to restart it. So just continue on, and then I'll hop back on.
Okay, come. Okay, so during that time period, we you know what I mean, in the time period where we were in Egypt, we were growing so vastly in numbers that Pharaoh felt like he had to kill our firstborn. At that time period, we were so oppressed that we actually cried unto the Lord, but we don't cry unto the Lord at this time period, even though we still face heavy oppression and heavy spiritual warfare. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like they don't need to attack us anymore. All they need to just do is promote. That's it. Promotion and how can I say, promotion and making things viral is the new wave of getting people to do things now. It's like mind control. You know what I mean? It's mind control to make women want to be whores so they can get vacations and bags. You know what I'm saying? It's mind control to make these children, because they're attacking the children. They're attacking the children when it comes to this alternate lifestyle situation, when it comes to the LGBTQ and all them. You know what I mean? They're going after the children because they know what it takes to destroy a generation. You know what I mean? And not only is it them attacking our children, it's ourselves as well. Like Officer Rock was talking about with a woman just promoting her baby as a gay baby. And, you know what I mean? The baby didn't even have a choice to even say what it wanted to be. You know what I mean? She already established that baby's lifestyle already for him. And she's going to reassure that baby is mentally intact with what her perspective was. You know what I mean? What she wants it to be. And so that baby's going to grow up like, okay, well, my mom be telling me I've been gay since I was a baby, so that's just what I'm going to be. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth, with majority of the new generations coming up. You know what I mean? You got a lot of these women dressed like full-blown streetwalkers and twerking in front of the kids, rapping just explicit lyrics in front of the children, like just really opening them up to high sexual energy at a young age that they don't even care nor understand, but it's forced upon them. So that's coming from our ignorance, our disobedience, and it's also coming from our oppressors because they don't want us to grow in numbers. You know what I mean? They grow very slowly in numbers. If we were to continue to keep on being free to do what we wanted to, our numbers would grow so fast and rapidly that they would just be overthrown in no time. You already see majority of the population is becoming Israel. You know what I mean? As we speak. And they're trying to figure out a way to control that. So I want to get into the mindset of our oppressors because they've been promoting this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read First Maccabees chapter 1, and we're gonna talk about the time period of the Greeks. Now, our people have faced plenty of different captivities because of our disobedience. We have been consistently disobeying the Lord time in and time out. Time in and time out. It's an old story. It's the same story. And this is why the sacrifice of Christ was necessary, because we just could not get it right since the beginning of the book, since Adam and Eve. You know what I mean? We could not get it right. We're a very stubborn people. You know what I mean? We're the people that God chose, but we're just stubborn as hell, and we just like just a knucklehead kid. Just. I mean, we've came across, whether if it's been your own kids or kids you've been around in school or anything like that, you've been around a knucklehead kid. You know what I mean? A kid that just don't get it right. Just has to, regardless of how many times you tell them, they just gotta do the opposite of what they were told. You know what I mean? But yeah. So getting into that, we just kept on disobeying the Lord, and the Lord had to deal with us as he usually deals with us, which is just allow us to go follow the ways of people who were beneath us, follow those ways, destroy ourselves, and eventually be under them and be under their rule. And then it got to a point where we just couldn't get back at rule because we were just so destroyed as a people. You know what I mean? So during this time period, okay, so we had the Babylonian captivity, we had the Persian captivity that we were under, and then we had the Greeks. Okay, so all these things, these were prophesied. Okay, matter of fact, let's go to the book of Daniel's real quick. Now, this is a prophecy that Daniel made hundreds of years before these situations even happened. Before Alexander the Greek even stepped on the scene, before the Greeks even came and took over, Daniel had a vision of the captivities that we would go through. But he's being shown these visions, and these visions were being interpolated. They were being how can I say, explained to Daniel by an angel, and an angel's telling him exactly what is going on within these visions. And I'm gonna read one of the visions right now, and this is the book of Daniel. You want me to bring you up, Barack? All right, I'm gonna bring you up.
That sound's gone though, right? Like we good now?
Kai, yeah, you're straight.
I'm most correct.
All right, so real quick, I'm just gonna read.
You said Daniel?
Yeah, I'm reading Daniel 7:4 real quick.
Yeah, I got you, man. I'm right there.
Okay, Kai.
All right, yeah. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Verse 5, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Verse 6, after this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
Okay, so as this is being explained, you would think that you were just hearing about just certain beasts, but these are not beasts. These are nations. These are nations that are going to rise up and be at rule. You know what I mean? Right. So it said the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. That was the Assyrian captivity that we were under. You know what I'm saying? And the second was like a bear that had ribs in his mouth. That was the Persian captivity that we were under. You know what I mean? And then it said the next one was like a leopard, which it had 4 wings on his back. Now this right here is the Greeks right here. You know what I mean? This is the Greeks, and this is Alexander. This is Alexander the Great, or how society calls him, Alexander the Great. You know what I mean? And him and the 4 wings on his back represented his 4 generals, which split after Alexander the Greek died. Right? Okay. So getting into it, the Persian Empire was a very, very solidified empire. They were huge. They were unbeatable, unmatched. You know what I mean? They just I mean, I'm pretty sure if you see like the movie 300, you get like a visual of what, you know what I mean, the Persian Empire was like. You know what I mean? And these were like Arabs, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? But yeah, so the Persian Empire, they were unbeatable. But then this man stepped on the scene. This was Alexander the Greek's father, which was Philip of the Macedonians, right? And he started his army up, and he left a big army for Alexander the Greek, right? So when Philip dies, Alexander the Greek is already taking over the Persian Empire. So Alexander the Greek was just so skilled at war, so skilled at his tactics at war, that he ends up eventually overcoming the Persian Empire, which pretty much at that time period was damn near impossible. You know what I mean? But this is how skilled he was at what he did. You know what I mean? And Alexander the Greek, he ruled for not too long. He died. I think it was like 32 or 33 or something like that. He started his rule at like 20 after his father died. You know what I mean? And so after his father died, when he went at rule, he took over many, many different nations. He started the gentrifying of nations. So gentrifying just being like you would have to do what they do. You would speak the language that they speak, which is Greece. You know what I mean? What you see pretty much today, where you go around the world and you see people speaking English. You know what I mean? That's gentrified. You know what I mean? Like you can go to different countries all over the world and see people speaking English because that gentrification was am I saying it right? Hellenism. I say gentrification, Slovakia. He started Hellenization. I'm not like, why did I say gentrification? But Hellenization, Slovakia. You know what I'm saying? He started Hellenization. And that was what you see, like how you see today. Like America is Hellenizing everyone. You know what I mean? We're under their doctrine. A lot of people are Christians, a lot of people are Catholics. You know what I mean? Majority of what you see all over the world, you follow their religions, you follow their language. That's what Alexander the Greek was spreading around. And he took over many different territories. Right? So I'll read Maccabees and we'll get into the Bible speaking about Alexander the Greek, right? Alexander the Greek, he also died an early death, and he was a sodomite as well. I don't know if I can say sodomite, but
that's good.
Right, yeah, but he died from an unknown disease. A lot of people think that it was, what is it? Freaking
HPV or gonorrhea?
I mean, it's not really documented. It just, I mean, you would think because of he was diving in fecal matter that, right. You know what I mean, that had something to do with it. But, you know what I mean, the story changes as time goes, but you know what I mean, all we know is that he died from a disease that was unknown. But yeah, so I'm gonna read the book of Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1, and this is just going through the Bible, getting into the historical events of what was going on with Alexander the Greek, which, you know what I mean, what we just read. Yes, exactly. Pause. You know what I mean, what we just read. That Daniel, hundreds of years, predicted about all these nations coming to rule. You know what I mean? This is how you know that the Bible is, you know what I mean, factual when it comes to the prophecies, because all these in order are talking about all these different nations coming at rule, and history has not changed that order. Nothing's changed that order. These are actual documented facts of different nations that were at rule during a certain time period. And this was prophesied by Daniel hundreds of years before it even happened. You know what I'm saying? So the book of Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1, it says, and it happened after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, in so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So this is where he splits up the king. This is where he splits up his kingdom 4 different ways to his 4 different generals. You know what I mean? All this is documented in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can tell you that the Bible's not real. Nobody can tell you that the Bible's not facts. Everything that they're talking about happened in history. You know what I mean? And even the prophecy that Daniel made happened before that history was even solidified. You know what I mean? So this is pure facts that you cannot speak against the Bible. But sticking to the topic, you know what I mean? To the Grecian culture, you know what I'm saying? We went under the Grecian, the Greek captivity, you know what I'm saying? Under the Greeks. You know what I'm saying? So during that time period, this is the history that's going on as we're under their captivity. Because first we're under the Persians, now we're under the Greeks. Okay, and this is history of how they got going and how they got started. Right. Eventually, they all break up and they all war against each other. It's always the same thing when it comes to our oppressor. The characteristic, the beginning story and the end story. You know what I mean? Like it all makes sense. You can tell who is who in the Bible as far as nation-wise when it comes to the Bible, but just their characteristics. You know what I mean? Like Alexander the Greek, he got his kingdom through warfare, battle, killing, and sodomizing. You know what I'm saying? The same as you see when it comes to our oppressors or how we got into our captivity through warfare, through killing, and through, you know what I mean, butt breaking. You know what I'm saying? Like it's their characteristic. It's just how they move. It's how they operate. You know what I mean? It's just in them. And I wanted to get also into their ways of how they worship their gods as well. You know what I mean? Because we can get into a couple of their Greek gods and they have the same characteristic that they do. More brutal warfare, but also, you know what I mean, secretive, in the closet. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing you see today. And I'm gonna make those matchups in a minute. All right, you want to add something?
So, like, say that again.
Did you want to add on to that before I add this clip on there?
No, yeah, actually, to what you just said, man, was heavy. Because if you look at any civilization, any religious group or what have you, anybody that serves whatever god, right? Those people act the same way that their god acts. You understand? And of course, you can look at the Greeks and the Romans, of which we're going to be talking about today, but they had many gods. You know what I'm saying? Because not all of them, necessarily follow just Athena, or Zeus or Apollo, or as Hermes and all the other thousands that they have. But they all had overlapping characteristics because at the end of the day, this is the type of people that they were. They added their characteristics to their gods, of which how they thought that they should be living their lives. And and you can see that across any civilization throughout all of history. I mean, hell, you look at like the ancient Egyptians. I mean, almost alternative lifestyle was very prominent with them as well. I mean, hell, they believed that their high priests could only be bisexual because they were basically able to dwell in the physical realm and in the spiritual realm, like go back and forth because of the fact that they express dualities through their sexuality. Like, you understand? Right. And their gods reflect that type of lifestyle as well. You get what I'm saying? Because that's the lifestyle that they wanted to have in the first place. So they created those gods. And that's the difference between us and the ISUPK and everybody else, because we serve a God that's causing you to change and live by his ways instead of everybody else. You understand? They're going to create something so that it justifies their lusts and their lifestyle. So like, that's all I had.
Okay. I wanted to address LP4 in the chat. He said that there was no abomination in ancient Egypt. Have you ever heard of the story of Geb? You know about Geb?
It's a lot. Like, you don't even know about Geb.
You know about Geb? And if you think that Geb, the story of Geb is not an abomination, do you think it's all right to consume your own man seed? I'll just wait for you to answer that real quick. You ain't gonna answer that. Anywho, so yes, there was definitely a lot of Egypt wasn't no different either. Egypt had a lot of ancestral, backstories as well to go with their mythology. Can you show me where it's?
Salaki, real quick, y'all do realize that a very large portion of why the Most High had told us not to be like the heathens was because we literally were just taken out of Egypt. And so the Most High was literally saying, don't be like them. That's why you got the law of a man should not lay with a man like womankind. That's where that comes from. Because of what we just walked out of with Egypt. That was an issue. So the fact that you completely oblivious to that is, I mean, maybe you just, you genuinely ignorant, which is cool. But if you trying to fight against that, man, I might be some self-evaluating that you need to conduct. Show me what it says.
Like I don't. He says you believe your captain. I mean, I think he meant captain. Believe or not, that's historically documented. What do you mean?
Right. What is his name? I was actually just reading it the other day. It's one of their pharaohs. He was a homosexual. What was his name? Hold on. I'll pull him up.
They had a lot of homosexual pharaohs.
That's what I'm saying.
His mom and dad were brother and sister. That's why he was deformed.
Yeah, there was a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of incest. There was a lot of homosexuality. Like, what is this dude? What is he talking about?
I mean, we can talk about Egypt if you want to, because I mean, if you want to try to battle that fact, like we try to keep it to the Greeks, but you want to add in Egypt. I wouldn't do that, my brother. I mean, if you are, brother, yeah, I'm pretty sure but you probably, smoke weed and stuff though, for sure. So
wait, hold on, Salagi, real quick. So you recognize the fact that Esau is the one that's dealing with these, you recognize the fact that Esau is a real person. I'm assuming that you realize that he's a so-called white man, but yet you're gonna sit here and defend Egypt left and right.
Right.
Like I'm not really seeing. Like it almost seems like you want. Are you IUIC? Is that what this is? Are you one of them lavender lads?
The lavender lads, they want to be Egypt. I know they said ham.
They're going out in Africa trying to save, them African booty scratchers. They coming home with flies. So I think that might be one of them.
Yeah, you probably came
to the
wrong
way that this makes sense. How can you acknowledge that the so-called white man's name is Esau biblically, but yet you got an affinity toward, like, you got real offended about Egypt.
Yeah. Hey, Shalom to Christ, sis. What's going on?
And his name was the best known case of possible homosexuality in ancient Egypt is that of the two high officials. Ooh, that is Nyanka, Kanum, and Kanum Hotep. So your whole Hotep religion that y'all call it
Homotep.
Thank you. Like that's your basis. And I know y'all be seeing it's not Jabari. What's the other dude that got his head shaved, but then he just got the one little ponytail?
Oh, that's start with an A.
Almond Rose or something. I don't know what his name is. Who cares? But I mean, y'all see how they be dressing, man. Putting on makeup and this. Are you going to sit here and tell me that makeup is a straight thing to do for a man? That it's acceptable for a man to put makeup on?
Yeah, I wouldn't have came with. There's no come on now. You said there's nothing.
Expose yourself, man. Go back to
no abomination in Egypt. No abomination in Egypt. Are you really sure about that, my brother?
Yeah, that's my brother.
That's wild.
That is insane. That is insane.
This is not the place to be to try to defend that, my brother.
Right.
I mean, why even? Yeah, leave it alone.
Yeah,
there's so much to say about that, but we'll leave it alone. All right, but yeah, most definitely, yeah, Egypt. They was definitely digging in feces as well, but yeah. So.
Man, they still doing it. So like it. They over there clicking away into somebody. Like, come on, man.
Right.
That is insane. That's insane.
Hey, come on, look right about y'all. What's going on? All right, so I'm gonna share this clip real quick.
Yeah.
Let's get into the Greek mythology, which you can't even really. It's mythology now. This is actually their. You know what I mean? It was such an abomination that they had to add mythology at the end of that. But this was really their religion. You know what I mean? This is what they believed in. They believed in these gods. They made these gods and they worship these gods. You know what I'm saying? Zeus, Poseidon, Ares, all these different, you know what I mean, characters, they all have some type of characteristic of the people who made them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know, you know what I mean, judging by the Disney versions of the Greek mythology that, here we go again. All right, hold on real quick. I guess y'all believe all the foul things Esau has said about us are true too, huh? Well, technically, yes, we do. I mean, y'all history don't show anything different. You know what I mean? It's not just what Esau documented. This is what's documented on your walls. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't even say your walls. You probably just a regular black dude that think he Egyptian, but you know what I mean? This is what documented on their walls. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither there here or there. It's just on the walls. That's it. They probably painted it though in your mind, huh? Anywho, but going back to Greek mythology, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so they got their characteristics. Okay, very brute, aggressive, LGBTQ members. You know what I'm saying? This is what they're all about. You know what I'm saying? Alexander the Greek, he was a sodomite. He was a warrior. He was great at war. He overcame nations, but at the end of the day, he spent his nights in a warm bed with muscles. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. Just muscles. But you know what I'm saying? The same thing when it comes to their gods. Let's go into a clip real quick. I'm gonna share that clip and then I'll just stop it real quick. Let's see. All right, here we go.
Homosexuality had a presence in Greek mythology, and it was depicted in various ways. In ancient Greek society, the understanding of sexuality was different from contemporary views, and same-sex
mute your mic while it plays.
or morally wrong in the way they might be in some modern cultures. Greek society held a strong emphasis on male beauty and athleticism. This idealization of the male form extended to expressions of same-sex desire, often focusing on relationships between older men, harasts, and younger men, heromenos, in mentorship or romantic contexts. Some interpretations suggest that homosexual relationships in Greek mythology had symbolic or allegorical meanings, representing concepts such as initiation, power dynamics, or the blending of masculine and feminine qualities. Zeus and Ganymede. The myth of Zeus and Ganymede is one of the most well-known stories involving same-sex relationships in Greek mythology. Zeus met Ganymede on Mount Ida, a mountain located in ancient Troy, which is in modern-day Turkey. He was tending to his father's flocks. Ganymede was a handsome young prince of Troy, renowned for his beauty. According to the myth, Zeus, the king of the gods, was so infatuated with Ganymede's beauty that he transformed himself into an eagle, his sacred bird, to carry Ganymede off to Mount Olympus. On Mount Olympus, Ganymede became Zeus's cupbearer, replacing Hebe, the daughter of Zeus and Hera. His role was to serve nectar and ambrosia to the gods, which would grant them immortality. Zeus also granted Ganymede eternal youth and immortality. The young Trojan prince was set in the sky as the constellation Aquarius, or sometimes as the constellation Aquila, the eagle, and the largest moon of Jupiter, the Roman equivalent of Zeus, is named Ganymede in honor of the myth. This myth has been depicted in a great many artworks throughout history, from ancient pottery to Renaissance paintings.
Unmute your mic. You're still mute. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that is very disturbing. But this is their history. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just giving a little breakdown of their lifestyle and the gods that they actually worship. And I mean, come on, man. This I'm trying to ignore bruh in the chat, but it's like, bruh, you Egyptians were no different. It's all the same.
Just ignore him.
Yeah.
Just let him feed into our algorithm with all of his comments. That's fine.
Right. Appreciate it. But okay, so getting into that, like they're Zeus. We're talking about Zeus here. This is their main god. You know what I'm saying? Their main god was a sodomite. and not even just a sodomite, they were also into, I can't use it's they were into the P word, which
Right.
a grown adult having relations with a young adolescent.
Minor. Right.
Yeah, right. So this is their type of vibe that they go off of. This is what they worship. Now, you might think like, okay, well, that's them. That was how they got down back in those days, and this and that and that and this. But peep this out. Let's see. Now, who do you think that is on the screen? We see this guy to this day. You know what I'm saying? To this day, in this time period, we still see that particular man. Who is that man? That man is also a sodomite. That man is also part of the LGBTQ confusion community. You know what I'm saying? This is Caesar Borgia, who had relations with Leonardo da Vinci. You know what I'm saying? And now is a representation in most religions, Catholic religion, Christian religion, Jehovah's Witness. He's the representation and he's the idol of those religious establishments. You know what I'm saying? But his character is no different than Zeus or Hercules or Poseidon or Ares. They all have some type of LGBTQ confusion community. What your mouth, man? They all have that type of characteristic. Now you see that our people in this day and age usually have this man posted up in their religious establishments like churches, their grandma's house. They got to post it up in Catholic churches, all around. You know what I mean? He's on their necks on crosses, idolized as, you know what I mean, the as Christ in the Bible, Yahweh Shai Mashiach. He's the how can I say, the to be version. You know what I'm saying? Like he's yeah, exactly that's their characteristic. Like, and they have our people also serving that type of characteristic. You know what I mean? But this is the same type of God that they continue to keep bringing to our forefront, which is why, you know what I mean, God tells us not to follow the ways of the heathen. You know what I mean? Not to follow his ways, because he'll have you praying and crying and praising LGBTQ member. You know what I'm saying? Just like they was praising Zeus and Poseidon and Hercules and Ares and Achilles. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different idols that they worship, they have us doing the same thing that they were doing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have with the Greece to compare it to what we do today. You know what I mean? And how we serve, how they have our people serving LGBTQ members just as well as they served LGBTQ members, just as well as the Egyptians served LGBTQ members. You know what I'm saying? Like it's our oppressors continue to keep. That's why it says, you know what I mean, things that are written in the foretime was written for our learning. You know what I mean? For our learning to know that this is just the way our oppressors operate. And they will have you doing the same things they're doing, regardless of how, when you think about it, you think like, oh, dang, Zeus gay? Like, I can't even say that word. Zeus? I can't even say that word. Damn. Right?
Alternative lifestyle.
Zeus is alternative. Poseidon's alternative. Like, you know what I mean? We watch movies and stuff like that, thinking like, you know what I mean? We watch Hercules. Then we didn't know that he was part of that community either. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just thought it was just all just regular mumbo jumbo, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, they're doing the same thing that they got you doing. In the dark, you're serving a LGBTQ member, and then they not just that, they do all these sexually deviant things. You know what I mean? When it comes to all these different things, incest, pedophilia, all that stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much all. I wanted to correlate that with who they have serving as far as Caesar Borgia, who they try to depict as Christ. You know what I'm saying? Rock, you had something on roll.
Yeah, Con. So first, I actually wanted to start off with just kind of getting some study done with this website is the PubMed Central, and basically this goes over the the impact of basically what creates a alternative lifestyle individual, right? So, and you can find this article on it's N as in Nancy, cbi.nlm.nih.gov. So, this isn't just Wikipedia. You understand? This is actual research that's actually been put together. Anything that's .org.gov, it's reputable information. It's not just words put together for basically clicks and clout and whatnot, right? So I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna read this for a little bit and talk about it, right? So it says that, and forgive me for some of these words I'm going to butcher. You understand? I'm not the strongest reader. But epidemiological studies find a positive association between childhood maltreatment and same-sex sexuality in adulthood, with lesbians and gay men reporting 1.6 to 4 times greater prevalence of sexual and physical abuse than heterosexuals. So what is this saying right here in a nutshell? That basically they found positive, not positive, they've confirmed that when children are being maltreated with sexual abuse, a lot of times they end up becoming alternative lifestyle. You understand? Let's read on. 4 explanations have been proposed for this association. The first is that the same-sex sexuality causes childhood maltreatment through 2 pathways. 1, adolescents who reveal their same-sex orientation are targeted for maltreatment. You understand? So in other words, when somebody thinks that this child is is showing signs of something, they'll be targeted in particular. You understand? Because it's easy prey for those so-called predators, right? And 2, adolescents exploring same-sex attractions may put themselves in risky situations, increasing likelihood of maltreatment. You understand? So now here it's trying to say that these children are just exploring it. But let's be honest, right? We are all a product of our environment. A child has absolutely no business, even thinking about, let alone knowing about things like sex. You understand? They shouldn't be thinking about, there should be no exploration with, a little boy and another little girl, or a little boy and another little boy. You understand? Let alone a little boy and an adult. You get what I'm saying? What did that sister? They took the greatest man to. Oh yeah. I don't know why it looked like there was another comment. All right, you understand? So reading on. A second explanation proposes that sexual orientation minorities disproportionately exhibit gender non-conforming behaviors in childhood and are targeted for maltreatment. So again, these people are trying to say that basically putting the blame on these children. You understand? Like, take for example, sometimes it does happen where you have a little boy, for whatever reason he wants to play with dolls and this, that, and the other. And of course, it is the child's parents' job to teach that child that this isn't what you're supposed to play with. These aren't, this isn't for boys. This is for girls. You understand? And then of course you've got a great example of those girls who grow up being tomboys, where they like to do all the play all the games like boys do. They damn near dress like boys, this, that, and the other. But through them being raised up properly and guided properly, what ends up happening to both of those children? that little boy who was playing with dolls, and that little girl who, you know, was being a tomboy, who was growing up, you know, acting like a boy. They both grow out of it. There was a model. I can't remember her name right now, but you know, she was, you know, gorgeous woman. She talked about how, you know, growing up, she was the youngest, and she had like 4 or 5 brothers, older brothers, and she grew up wanting to be just like them. You know, doing all the guy stuff, this, that, and the other, with, you know, wear clothes like them, the whole 9 yards. Well, once she started becoming, you know, going into, you know, her age, you know, for her to blossom into a woman, she grew out of being a tomboy and started, you know, going into her femininity. And she spoke about that and said, I'm glad that I never got caught up in the whole alternative lifestyle where anybody tried to push that on me and say that this is my actual identity, because I can look back on it and say that this was just a phase. You get what I'm saying? That was something that she was able to grow out of, because it's not natural for you to, you know, for a woman to desire a woman or a man to desire a man. It's not natural. And of course, you know, luckily for her, she wasn't molested. You understand? She wasn't sexually assaulted. So that wasn't an issue that burdened her, and it allowed her to grow out of that, that phase of her life. But now, according to this study, she was sitting there acting like a tomboy, you know, dressing like a tomboy, acting like a tomboy. Well, according to this study, she would have been a prime victim to being sexually assaulted, and thus making her, you know, or making her a prime candidate to go into the alternative lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? But of course, she was protected by her brothers and whatnot. Y'all can look it up. You know what I'm saying? But that makes her a target. And that's what this is talking about, is how these children, you know, they make themselves a target. But mind you, they're innocent children. You understand? They're trying to find their way, but that's not them trying to explore sexuality. So that's one thing that y'all have to make sure that y'all take from this, right? Reading on. A third explanation is that reported differences are attributable to differential recall of maltreatment by sexual orientation, due either to self-reflection during the coming out process or to differential willingness to endorse stigmatizing experiences. So what this is basically saying, right, is that they were having maltreatment. So this is kind of talking about like somebody just like forcing up on them. You understand? And mind you, all 4 of these examples that are coming forward is what makes these children, you know, grow up to go on to the, you know, become an alternative lifestyle person. You understand? So it's saying that there, you know, it's due to either self-reflection during the coming out process or differential willingness to endorse stigmatizing experiences. So in other words, they're in a state of confusion where they don't understand. Again, this is a child. What child is able to make a decision? To make a decision that dictates basically who they are for the rest of their life. You understand? Because it is that big of a deal when you decide you want to be a part of the alternative lifestyle. You understand? Right. Because not only is that putting you into a minority group, as this study was talking about, but also now this is putting you in a group where you are most susceptible to receive diseases, to transmit diseases. So in other words, you're putting your life at risk. What child thinks about that? What child, like, just think about it for a moment, for those of y'all that didn't grow up in this age of technology as a child, where you were forced to sit outside like I was, you know, be 110 degrees outside. And my dad said, do not come into the house until the street lights come on. You understand? You know, drinking out of the hose water, the whole 9 yards. When you scraped your knee, were you thinking, oh, it's going to get infected? You know, I might get this, you know, I might get gangrene or ringworm or anything like that. No, I just want to stop the bleeding and goddamn, you know, stop the bleeding and the pain or whatever, you know, walk it off so it don't hurt no more so I can keep on playing. That's the only thing you think about. And an adult, the adult, it says, oh, why didn't you come in the house and tell me so I can clean this up so it doesn't get infected? But you're going to sit here and try to tell me that a child is going to make that type of decision that, you know what, I'm going to put myself in this situation every time that I have a partner to contract an STI or an STD. And mind you, today in 2024, we're talking about children that are, you know, just getting into kindergarten that are making these decisions. So in other words, these children are being preyed on and they are being guided into, you know, into this lifestyle through abuse. You understand? And of course, we're going to bring this all full term with the Greeks and the Romans after I finish reading the fourth explanation. Reading on, a fourth explanation is that maltreatment increases likelihood of same-sex sexuality. 4 pathways have been hypothesized. Maltreatment may cause loss of self-worth and create a stigmatized identity in victims. So in other words, when this child is abused, they think themselves lesser than what they are. They think of themselves as nothing. And just think about it. When we're in the ISUPK, we learn the value of life and our individual life. We learn the value of taking care of our bodies. You understand? This child who is being sexually assaulted now has no value. And this doesn't mean sees no value in themselves. And this pertains to a woman. What does that mean for a woman who has no value in themselves? They are promiscuous. They throw their bodies to everybody. You know, I mean, hell, you go on to, you got all these doggone OnlyFans girls and whatnot selling pictures of, of their entire body. You understand? Because they don't value themselves. You understand? Right. That's why they're on the stripper poles. It all starts when they were a child. You understand what I'm saying? And of course, it's the same exact thing with the man. When these things are done, to him as a child, he doesn't value his life. He devalues himself. And that's why, both genders are out there having sex with everybody because they don't have value in life for their lives. They don't have value for their bodies. So they destroy themselves. And of course, another way that they go about it as well is drugs and alcohol. And you see that with all people who have been afflicted with a very traumatic experience in their adolescent years. They get addicted to drugs. They get addicted to alcohol. And quite frankly, a lot of them become extremely promiscuous. You understand? From the years of, of my life, what I've experienced, when somebody says that they have been sexually assaulted as a young child, 3 things happen. One of 3 things happen from my personal experience that I've noted. Is that 1, they become extremely promiscuous. 2, those people are very standoffish. They have a 1,000-foot wall that it takes forever for somebody to break through it so that they will actually open up to them. Or and this is where I believe you get those people what they call asexual, where they just have absolutely no desire for sex because it's that bad of an experience for them. And it all comes from the adolescent years. You understand? Where was I? Therefore, maltreated persons with same-sex preferences may be more willing to adopt another stigmatized identity, namely minority sexual orientation. In other words, these children choose to identify with these, the minority sexual orientation, which means they choose to be alternative lifestyle. You understand? The second pathway of 4, Slovakia, reads sexual abuse perpetrated primarily by men causes boys to believe they are homosexual. So in other words, what this whole article is saying, actually, let me say this. The one thing that this entire article has yet to say is that there's a DNA strand that there's a gene that scientists have found that express that makes you born gay. You understand? That makes you born to be, go into the alternative lifestyle. No, what it is saying is that sexual abuse perpetrated primarily by men causes boys to believe that they are homosexual. Now they are receiving, because y'all got to understand, everybody understands whether or not you are straight or alternative lifestyle, we all affiliate sex with, with love to some sort of an extent. Now, when you're talking about a child who receives that, for one, attention from an adult, let alone is now being freshly exposed to, this bonding experience, you understand? They are now going to confuse the two, turn it into some little mixed up, pleasure experience. And so now the child thinks that he is alternative lifestyle. Now that child think that, what, I was born this way. But in reality, no, somebody stole your innocence and made you think this. Everybody wants to try to say that in the ISUPK that we are brainwashed. You understand? If you really think about it, you would think that it is actually a good thing to be brainwashed. I'm washed of all that disgusting way that y'all think. You understand? In the world. You get what I'm saying? But to society's standards of what brainwashed is, there's nobody that is more brainwashed than a victim of child maltreatment who believes that they were born this way just because that is the only thing that they know. Because again, like what I said earlier, we are all products of our environment. You understand? That child knew nothing else but this at that given time where he's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. You understand? That is what that child, that is what that child knows. You understand? This will get me attention. And of course, that uncle, that dad, that neighbor, that whatever that person was, that predator that did this to that child, that they give them special attention anytime that they're around. Why? Because they're nervous. They don't want that little boy to say nothing because there's going to be consequences for it. So of course he gives them little extra toys, little extra candies, little extra whatever. And that child confuses that type of love and attention with the fact that, he loves me. So what is he training that child to think? That if I give my tail to other men, that is love. You confused that child. This is where that lifestyle comes from. You understand? Example 3, sexual abuse of girls by male perpetrators causes victims to be averse to sexual relationships with men. Like I said, you generally get 3 types of outcomes for people who are, Salakia, it's actually 4, Salakia, because the 4th one is they're hypersexualized. They're hypersexualized, they're asexual. Well, I guess being promiscuous is still hypersexual. So we'll go back to 3. We'll keep it short and simple, right? They're promiscuous, they got a huge wall, or they just are completely detached from sexual relations. You understand? And that is the example that we get here when we're talking about girls. You understand? When we're talking about females. And 4, sexual abuse of boys by men teaches homosexuality. What have I been saying this entire time? That this is not something that you are just born into. You understand? You are a product of your environment. You understand? The things that you see, the things that you hear, the things that you experience help shape you. Your environment, you're not going to absorb everything from your environment, but you sure as hell do pick and choose those things that you want to help build the person that you are. You understand? And this sexual maltreatment of children is forcing them into a lifestyle. You understand? So that's it on that. Now we're going to talk a little bit about, and this kind of goes in with the transfer from the Greeks and the Romans, because we all know that the Greeks, when the Grecian Empire fell, they pretty much just became the Romans. That's why their gods are pretty much the same. Some of the gods even have the same exact names with just a couple different characteristics. You understand? The ideologies were still the same, and quite frankly, the ideologies of sexuality was, it was still the same. Although Greece was a little bit more liberal when it came to same-sex relationships, the Romans were really what's the word I want to use? Were they thought of themselves very highly is what I want to say. I can't think of the actual word, but they thought of themselves very, very highly. And you get this example here with we're just talking about homosexuality in Rome. Oh wait, I think I went to the wrong tab. Hold on one second.
If I can add on to what you were saying about your 4 points as well,
please,
just real quick, those 4 different forms of abuse that you just dissected just now, those are 4 different ways that the confusion community procreate. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't make, you can't procreate with 2 of the same genders. You know what I'm saying? So how do you make more confusion community how can I say members? How do you make more? How do you procreate? You can't procreate through giving birth. So how do you procreate? By giving those 4 different ways of abuse. You over sexualize the child. You abuse the child. You know what I mean? Sexually. Those different type of ways are the ways that you create another member of that community. You know what I'm saying? It's like what you were saying, like was heavy, like about the brainwashing. Like you got to brainwash, manipulate, and abuse that child in order to be able to get them a part of your community. Like I remember General Muhammad was talking about that because they can't procreate. This is how you create. This is how you procreate within the LGBT community. You know what I'm saying? You technically abuse the next person, the next child, so that they grow up and they do the same thing to the next child, and they grow up and they do the same thing. That's how that formulation of procreation for the confusion community continues to thrive and to get greater, because they're consistently pushing hypersexuality, continue pushing abuse to that child. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they become part of that community. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't just come off of being born. The DNA tells you that the opposites don't attract. No, like, you know what I'm saying? You are pushed into that mindset. You're brainwashed, like you said. But that was heavy though.
Oh no, most of that great, man. So this is a little bit of the a little bit more information on homosexuality in ancient Rome, and of course, like I said earlier, I will bring the connection of Greece going into Rome in a moment, and of course the some of their practices that they had when with dealing with children, which is I think extremely important for us to understand, because we literally see them trying to revive that lifestyle, that ideology. You understand? Where, the LGBTQ, they continuously, add and then also remove the P, which is for pedophilia. You get what I'm saying? Which ultimately all of them should just be labeled with the P after what we just read and understand now, right?
Right.
No child thinks about that. It's all programming, and stepchildren are targeted greatly by sexual deviants. That's a heavy point, sis. That's a very heavy point. So yeah. So now this is from Wikipedia. I'm sure some of y'all have an issue with Wikipedia, but you know what? Quite frankly, this is accurate information. You get this anywhere that you go. The same information anywhere you go. You understand? So homosexuality in ancient Rome often differs markedly from the contemporary West. From the contemporary West. Latin lacks words that would precisely translate homosexual and heterosexual. The primary dichotomy of ancient Roman sexuality was active, dominant, masculine, and passive, submissive, feminine. So in other words, they didn't necessarily say, how do you say, that this man's the pitcher, this man is the catcher. They just, I'm the masculine one, and he's the feminine one, right? And right now, I'm about to show you their mindset of what they found acceptable for a Roman. You understand? Because like I said, it is a little bit different with the Greeks, where the Greeks were more liberal about same-sex relationships. All right. So it says it was expected and listen, it was expected and socially acceptable for a freeborn Roman man to want sex with both female and male partners, as long as he took the penetrative role. The morality of the behavior depended on the social standing of the partner, not gender per se. So for some reason, I think I lost my notes on it. As I talk, I'm going to see if I can find it to give you guys the word for word. But basically, so what the Romans believed was that they were not to have sex with somebody of the same standing, the same social standing as them. So, for instance, if it was a Roman freeborn man with some sort of political standing, they would not enter into another man that is also a politician. You understand? If they were to enter another man, they would enter a slave. You understand? Somebody that they viewed as a Roman to be beneath them. You understand? So, and that was kind of their way of justifying, because have y'all ever heard, how white people will say stupid crap, it's not gay if I'm giving it to you or you're putting my rod in your mouth, it's not gay. That is literally the Roman ideology, is that it's not gay for me to basically get off. It's gay for you because you're doing it. You're being the feminine role. You get what I'm saying? And if you could, what is that? Leviticus 20, is it 20 or is it 18? Can you get for me a man shall not lie with a man like womankind? Could you get that for me, Baba Kashai? But you understand, this is their way of trying to expose a loophole in the system so that they could just be disgusting sexual deviant bastards. That's what it is. You understand? And of course, it gets even worse because just like what the officer was just bringing out, is that the alternative lifestyle isn't it's created through, it's a man's creation. It's they're not just born naturally. You understand? It is not, it's not a natural occurrence. It is something that is created through a man being disgusting with children. Did you find that?
Khan.
Oh yeah, you read that for me, Baba Shah?
Khan. The book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 22.
Okay.
Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination.
Go ahead. Wait. Where is the one? Damn it. Where is it? Where it's get for me the one that says, it doesn't go into detail, but it basically says no matter, blood is on both of their hands. Do you know what I'm talking about? For them, if a man lies with a man, it is an abomination, and it'll be on both. Their blood will be on both their hands. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Let me check real quick.
I can't think.
Let me check my notes real quick.
Yep. All right, while he finds that, I'll continue reading this. Right. It was a class system, and a person's status determined who was superior when it came to sex. Basically, yeah, exactly. That's basically how it works. Okay. So from here, let's go to the connection of the Greeks and the Romans. Okay, so here's a new vocabulary word for everybody to learn. It is called pederasty. Pederasty. I'll read the definition for you. All right, you know this isn't hook on phonics. This isn't a reading class. Right now we're doing history. Pederasty is a sexual relationship between an adult man and a boy. It was a socially acknowledged practice in ancient Greece and Rome and elsewhere in the world, such as pre-Meiji Japan. You understand? So this is actually something that has been practiced since, you know, the Greeks and the Romans, you know, they you know, kind of transferred over to the Romans. Here it talks about the age of the boys in Athens as elsewhere. Pedestria appears to have been characteristic of the aristocracy. The age of youth depicted has been estimated variously from 12 to 18. A number of Athenian laws address the pederastic relationship. I've actually read in some places where the boys could be as young as 6 to 8 years old. You understand? But so from what we just read, you understand, with the you know, what forms a alternative lifestyle person in the first place. You understand? This has been going on since the ancient Greeks and the Romans, and quite frankly, even with the ancient Egyptians, to go back to what that, you know, that butt hurt African booty scratcher was so offended about. You understand? This goes all the way back, dealing with, you know, with their civilizations. You understand? Which is part of the reason why the Most High had told us not to be like the heathen. If there was something, listen, just think about it. The Most High told us not to take on the ways of the heathen because none of their ways are of honor. None of their ways are of justice. None of their ways are righteous. None of their ways have value, and in fact will destroy your nation. You understand? Look at how weak the black man is today now in the world because of the fact that a lot of our men are being raised by single mothers who are raising their sons to be alternative lifestyle, deliberately to be alternative lifestyle. Like we talked about with that sister earlier, who was, putting her newborn baby on the camera saying, gay baby, he's going to be a gay baby, making a whole little dance, and he's only 2 years old. This is how they are formed. You understand? Through that brainwashing. This child, the only thing he knows to do is to cry, shit and piss on himself and sleep. That's the only thing that he knows to do, but his future is already dictated because his mother wants him to be a homosexual, wants him to be an alternative lifestyle. You understand? Salaki, did you find that?
The only verse that I got is Micah 7:2-3, but I don't think it obtains to the subject though. It's just talking about an evil man.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Salakia.
You want me to read this one though?
Yeah, go ahead. Let me hear it.
All right, this is the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 2. The good man is perished out of the earth, and there is none upright among men. They all lie in wait for blood. They hunt every man his brother with a net, that they may do evil with both hands earnestly. The prince asketh, and the judge asketh for a reward. And the great man, he uttereth his mischievous desire, so they wrap it up.
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Okay, kind of.
Let me see. If this doesn't work, then maybe. Oh, I think that's where it's at. There it is. Go to Leviticus 20 and 13. See, I knew I wasn't tripping. You had me worried for a second.
20 and 13? Let's see.
Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13, if you don't mind.
All right, the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 13.
Uh-huh.
If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
So to my point earlier, there is no, oh, okay, well, you were playing the feminine role, so only you're the abomination. No, both of y'all are the abomination. Both of y'all's blood will, it will be required for, the abominable act that you had committed. You understand? So you have to also think, man, what they're doing to these little kids, they're damning these children. This custom damns a child. You understand? You breeding this abomination it's killing the children. You understand? All right. Let's see, Salakia. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. Did you still have that one video ready about the what was it, the Roman emperor?
Come.
Can you play that for me, Baba Kashab?
I got it right here.
The water.
Let me see. Salakia, hold on, let me get that real quick. Let me type it in real quick.
Yep, no sweat.
Ambitions and artificial intelligence.
And while you're doing that, I'm trying to find. There was a couple little vocab words that I had that went with pederasty, which basically just kind of explained how when these men would pursue these children, they had terms for these little boys, turning away a grown man's sexual advances. You get what I mean? And quite frankly, so I don't know if y'all knew this, which is it's wild, but I learned this in an American history class, where for a people to start their own civilization and to separate, like as in like gain independence from someone else. So this was talking about the time that the American colonizers were trying to separate from Britain. Part of the stipulation that Britain had created for them to be able to separate from them was, well, you guys have to have a dictionary with at least 12,000 unique words to prove that you guys are actually different from us. You're gonna have your own way of life, etc. Right? So, who else has their own dictionary composed of 12,000, a minimum of 12,000 unique words? The LGBTQ community. And part of those words is actually what I'm looking for right now. I'm trying to look for right now, where they talk about, the terms that they use when, an adult is trying to pursue after an adolescent, and they reject the advances. So play that video, Baba Kasha, while I look for that. If you got it ready.
I got it ready.
Oh yeah, Baba Kasha.
Emperor Elagabalus became emperor at the age of 14 after his grandmother, Julia Mesa, incited a revolt against the previous men in power. The young ruler had no regard for Roman religious traditions or sexual taboos. He replaced the chief god, Jupiter, with a deity named Elagabalus, and forced prominent Romans to participate in religious rites over which he presided. He was married 5 times in 4 years. His second wife was a Vestal virgin whom he corrupted and abandoned. His most stable relationship was with his chariot driver, Hierocles, whom he referred to as his husband. He lavished favors on his male lover and even married one of them in a public ceremony, where the emperor played the part of the bride. Elagabalus enjoyed painting his eyes, plucking his body hair, and wearing wigs, then prostituting himself in taverns and brothels. Eventually, this became inconvenient, so he set up a room in the imperial palace where he would solicit men for sex. He would stand nude at the door and in a sweet, melting voice entice passers-by who were, of course, specially instructed to play their part. He would then brag to the prostitutes of Rome about how many lovers he had and the high prices he commanded. Elagabalus preferred to be called a lady and wore women's clothes, wigs, and costumes. He offered vast sums to any physician who could perform a sexual reassignment surgery on him. After 4 years on the throne, popular support began to shift away from the emperor towards his cousin Alexander. At a public event, soldiers cheered for Alexander and ignored the emperor. Outraged, he ordered the execution of anyone who took part in this insubordination. In response, the soldiers attacked him. His mother clung tightly to him, and she too was murdered by the crowd. Following his death, his lover Hierocles was executed, and records of Elagabalus's rule were expunged. Statues.
Now, did y'all hear that? What it just said about this, and this was a prominent man in Roman culture. A man was standing. You understand? Y'all hear what this man was doing? Where he was putting on makeup, to solicit sex to other men, where he was just prostituting himself. You understand? And what I found the craziest part as well is that he was trying to get gender reassignment all the way back to ancient Greece. You understand? Or it's like an ancient Rome. You understand? In the ancient times, which, when we read Ecclesiastes 1:9, where it says that there is no new thing under the sun. At what point are y'all going to take the Bible seriously when it tells you that the things that are going on today, it's not new? Right. You understand? These things have been going on. This wickedness has been, it's been going on since, since the goddamn our oppressors were allowed to, to rule themselves and potentially have rulership over everybody else as well. You understand? Until we have rulership, until Christ is in that seat, these things are going to continue in this earth. You understand? That is why this world needs to come down and burn. You understand? That is why this world needs to end. You understand? Because these things are happening. You understand? Because again, to go back to what we just read, this man, he wasn't born that way where he was just confused. He wasn't born that way where he's like, oh, you know what? I want to get a gender reassignment. You understand? He was programmed as a child to think this way when he became an adult. You understand? He was programmed. He was what you would call to be brainwashed. You understand? And I can't seem to find it. I'm kind of afraid to put certain Google phrases into I ain't trying to see certain things. Right. Or have the FBI knocking on my door. Right. So we'll move on from the terminology. You understand? Transformer. No, I'm not talking about I'm talking about the word that I was looking for, because there's a specific word that that the Romans used when a child declined their advance. You understand? But
and not to mention that at that time period too, they were castrating men to grow up to be feminine. You know what I'm saying? To grow up with that female mannerism, they were castrating them.
Right. You know no, right. And those eunuchs, because a eunuch is different from what the Bible would have. Like a eunuch man for us in the Israelite culture is different than what, a eunuch in the world. You understand? Because a eunuch in the world, like what you just said, they castrate them. They remove their balls, and sometimes they remove, the entire male genitalia. You understand? Whereas just for us, man, if somebody says that they're a eunuch, like that's basically just saying, like, man, I'm putting, you know, my sexual desires completely to the side. I'm staying celibate, but still have all my man parts. You get what I'm saying? Let's see. I actually think that is it for my notes. Yeah, since I couldn't find that freaking that word, that was it for my notes. Was there anything else that you wanted to add? I mean, hell, we came up on 9 o'clock anyways.
Oh yeah, we are at 9 o'clock. Shoot. Just to finalize my statements. It's just a redo of history repeating itself. You know what I'm saying? This is the mindset, that's the characteristics of our oppressor. This is what they push on our people. This is how our people react to the things that are pushed on them. You know what I mean? We, instead of putting up any fight, instead of putting up any type of testing of those spirits, our people allow it and we support it. And not only do we support it, but we are the what's the word I'm looking for? We're the prime example of what those communities represent. You know what I'm saying? You can see it within the commercials, the movies, everything. Like they're always, you would not come across a movie anymore unless there's a LGBTQ member that is either Black or Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way that we're the word is at the tip of my tongue. But we're the main broadcasters of that type of lifestyle. We represent in full body what it is that our oppressor wants from us. You know what I'm saying? Which is
are you thinking like Picture Boy type ordeal?
Something like that. What was that?
Or what is it? Is it not Picture Boy? The poster? Is it called Poster Child? I think I know what you're talking about.
Child, yeah, Poster Child. We're the poster child of it. The water. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? This is no different than the time period. You see the characteristics. You see who is creating the narrative. You know what I'm saying? This is why the Lord says, follow not the ways of the heathen. You know what I'm saying? The Lord doesn't want us in that confusion community. We can believe the lie that you're born a confusion community member, but we can't believe the truth is that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are God's chosen people, and Christ sacrificed his life in order to be able to give us hope and give us time to change ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We believe everything but the truth. You know what I mean? It's time for our people to stop being so stiff-necked, stop being so ignorant, and stop being so stubborn and being so submissive to everything that our oppressor gives us. You know what I'm saying? And it's time for us to just wake up and analyze that this is what they want from us. This is what they push. This is how their lifestyle is. You know what I'm saying? It's not for us to be like that. It's for us to turn away and be separate. But that's all I got.
No, facts. And, and just another thing for y'all to, keep in mind as well with, this year being the last year of President Biden's first term, and, with elections coming up again, y'all got to remember, man, these are the people that you are voting in. You understand? That spirit of Rome that we just read, those politicians are here again in our government. You understand what I'm saying? That spirit is here. And you know it because of the fact that, man, I remember when I was in high school, and then also when I was in, Esau's military, hearing about, the politicians getting caught up with, clean it up. Hurry up and clean it up. Where, there's a couple politicians, some senators who were getting caught up with, child pornography, and then also, playing around with, little boys and whatnot in the first doggone place. You understand? So, it's here in America. They just don't talk about it that much. That's why they're not going that hard on Diddy. They're not going that hard on revealing the Epstein notebook with all of those names. You know why? Because your leaders, your world leaders, their names are in that book. Their faces are in those videotapes that they confiscated from Diddy. That's the only reason why they're not being prosecuted. You understand? Because I mean, let it have been a situation where it was just Diddy. I mean, hell, look at how they burn Bill Cosby. You understand? For something that happened decades ago, allegedly. You understand? Just think about that. But yet they don't want to protect these kids. Y'all don't want to protect the kids. Y'all don't want to focus on what really matters. Y'all really that caught up in NBA and baseball, hockey, and football, huh? Y'all really that caught up, or Taylor Swift? Y'all really that caught up, huh? That you're not even thinking about the kids. You talk about it for a week, then leave it alone. And of course, now we got the doggone elections coming up. I mean, what y'all gonna forget that? Because we all know that y'all sure as hell gonna forget about Trump being a felon when it's time to punch in his name in that voting box. You understand? And this is also why the Most High doesn't even want us to be voting for these heathens anyways, to be over us, to have rulership over us, because these are the type of people, they're disgusting. They're disgusting people. You understand? Who, given the opportunity, they'll either create their own opportunity or you give it to them, where they will take your child and do these things to them and force them into this lifestyle. You understand? That's all I got, though. You want to go ahead and close this out?
All right. The water for tuning in. It's another Tuesday night breakdown. SoCal, Las Vegas. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Like, share, subscribe. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this numbers out. Let's get our people wide awake. You know what I'm saying? Definitely some good information that we put out tonight. The water for off to a rock, you know what I'm saying, for that good information he put out. You know what I mean? This can't ask for anything better than that. You know what I'm saying? Like this is things that your therapist is not going to tell you. This is things that society's not going to tell you. You know what I mean? This is really going against the grain, you know what I mean? And really getting out of that that mental state that the society's trying to put us in, you know what I'm saying? But we the water for y'all tuning in. You know what I mean? We'll see y'all next week. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yah Shabrak a thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shemal a thumb, Shem Yah side to the sisters. Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Most High in Christ.
Cut through they seeds like I'm sorrow. Pay me for his name, so I gotta keep that steel clutch. Trust me, I'm not what you think. I squeeze till it clicks. Precious cargo, spirit ancient, but I got a new semi-auto. Wave that bitch around like where's Wardo. Sleep if they won't. I cut through they seeds like I'm sorrow. Pay me for his name, so I gotta keep that steel clutch. Trust me, I'm not what you think. I squeeze till it clicks. Precious cargo.